Hello. If this is your first time, welcome to Frivolous Views. If you are a returner, welcome back to Frivolous Views. I'm Carlene. I appreciate you being here. What I'm going to do today is I'm going to do a review of the novel 2 Degrees by Bev Prescott, published by Bywater Books. For this first review video, I'm going to do the full video on YouTube and on my Patreon. But Patreon, you all get to see it first. So look at you go. But I'm really hoping that this will inspire some of you folks on YouTube to come on over to Patreon to join up there so that you can see the more in-depth reviews going forward. And also take an opportunity to look and say, hey, what else does Carlene have to offer over there? And maybe you'll choose the tier that has the reviews and the readings, or the reviews and the chats, or all things frivolous. So that is my hope. So with all that being said, I would love it if you would like, comment, subscribe, share here on YouTube, because that's going to help me get the word out. And I would also love it if you'd come over to Patreon. The link is down in the description. So let's talk about 2 Degrees, shall we? So in September of 2018, Bywater Books released 2 Degrees. It had been 4 years since we'd seen a book from Prescott, but tell you what, I was lucky enough in July of 2018 to be at a literary conference, the Golden Crown Literary Conference, where Bywater Books sponsored an event so that we got to hear Bev do a reading from the book. And let me tell you what, that just built up the anticipation. And I was so glad that I was able to attend that. And tell you what, when I got my hands on 2 Degrees, I read it and it surpassed all of my expectations. This is an epic action adventure. It is full of characters that are three-dimensional. They're intelligent. The prose is intelligent and it's creative, and it's such a wonderfully rich setting. So let's talk about this book, shall we? My goal is to get 15 people this year to read it. So if you have not read this book, click the link in the description to purchase the book. Okay, so the book starts pretty much at a run, like almost quite literally. The main protagonist, whose name is Sharon, and her wife, Eve, they're hurrying through the overcrowded streets of Boston, doing everything they can to move quickly while remaining unnoticed and safe. Now, by the end of the chapter, they are neither unnoticed nor are they safe, and the adventure begins. So from that point on, we follow Sharon in her desperate journey to find Eve, who has been kidnapped. And along the way, Sharon has to battle obstacles. She meets interesting people and ends up searching for her own humanity in an inhumane world. So Sharon is the main focus of 2 Degrees. It's her story that we follow, and we pretty much are privy only to her insights. So like I said, she struggles with her own humanity, telling herself that only Eve matters and no one else. But along the way, she meets up with people who chip away at that armor that she's created for herself. And so we see great change and growth in Sharon, which I always love to see growth in a character. So that armor never goes away. She always has her armor, but she learns when it's safe to remove it and when it's necessary to lock it in place, which I think is, again, a really good show of growth and knowledge of self. And she's a fascinating character. She's someone I'd really like to know. Now, the remaining cast of characters, friend and foe alike, are ridiculously intriguing. So from Inu, the 10-year-old refugee boy that she takes into her charge, to Frederico, to Woody, and even the Strelitzia, the calculating villain. Prescott gifts us with a collection of people who are very, very diverse. They're very interesting, and they're mysterious. And they all contribute to Sharon's evolution throughout the adventure. She learns to trust while maintaining that ability she has to bob and weave. And what's really nice too is that every single character is in some way essential to the story. There's no one there just to fill space. There's no one there that shows up and then disappears and we wonder what happened, where'd they go? Everybody is essential, which I think is sometimes a very hard task to take on. Because sometimes it's really easy, I think, to write a character for a moment to fulfill a need and then, just kind of throw them away, and we don't see them again. But Bev didn't do this. Prescott did not do this. Every character in there is necessary. Now, let's talk a little bit about the writing. The writing in 2 Degrees is so exceptional. Prescott has found a way to integrate multiple branches of science, politics, and action adventure into the story. And she does it with aplomb and intelligence. I mean, the way it just is woven together so seamlessly is amazing. And what I really appreciate about it is that she does so without condescension. Not condensation, condescension. 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 She doesn't condescend to her readers. There we go. So she takes for granted that her readers are astute, though with the fact that I am having trouble pronouncing condescension, maybe not so much. But she takes for granted that we have some brain cells to rub together, and that we're able to follow that narrative that she's laid out and put forth to us. So sure, there are explanations of the science. There needs to be explanations of the science. We're not all botanists. We're not all climatologists. Fine. But she does so in a way that it doesn't use monosyllabic terminology and talk down to us, and say, let me make this for you very simple. Let me talk to you like you're a kindergartner. She doesn't do that. So she doesn't over explain it and she doesn't under explain it. It's really cool. It's refreshing. She explains it in just the way that it's needed for her readers to go, aha, got it. Now, in addition to science, there's science fiction. And quite frankly, I'm not a huge fan of science fiction. In books, I love science fiction movies, but in books, they're okay. I don't go to them first, but I don't hate them. But Prescott has created this world that is at once completely fantastical, but also believable. The transports that they use and the weapons that they use, they're interesting and they're creative. And I didn't even blink. Didn't even blink when I read about them. I was like, yep, okay, I totally see that. Totally see it. I was right there with it. I used to be in my younger days. I used to be an astronomy and physics major when I was in college. I fell out of love with it, moved on. Um, but I still have a love for those types of sciences. Things about space and things about the planets and the stars and stuff like that. And because I studied it in college and it was my major, um, it's very easy for me to go, oh, come on. That couldn't, no. I didn't do that once with this book. Not once. Like I said, the science and the science fiction, I went, yep, I can see it. Makes perfect sense to me. Got it. So that's just, I think, phenomenal. Now, 2 Degrees is a novel. It highlights the effects of what's happening in our world. We're killing our planet. That's what it comes down to. We're killing our planet. And Prescott has extrapolated from, recent politics and science. Now remember, this was published in 2018. So guess who was our not my president at that time? And so she extrapolates from that to show us the a potential outcome. What can happen if we do nothing and listen to the tangerine twat waffle? But while she definitely shows the impact of poor governance and policy, she puts the great majority of the blame exactly where it belongs. On us, on humans, all of us. There's an overriding sense of this is what we have done to ourselves throughout the book. But what's wonderful about it is that there's also hope. If we listen to Earth, if we learn, we can survive. And this is one of those novels where the setting serves as a main character in the story. So Sharon, in her search for Eve, traverses a great majority, a good portion of the United States during that journey, and Prescott's talent at describing her reimagining of the land. I mean, hello. It's amazing. She takes us across the country through areas that are very well known, not just to those of us who live there. So, as a resident of Northern Illinois, Prescott's description of Chicago in 2092. I'll be honest with you, it kind of gave me weird dreams. It did. It kind of gave me weird dreams. She pinpointed many of the landmarks that make Chicago what it is. And to read about those landmarks being destroyed and desolate is so heartbreaking. The destruction of national monuments, and the natural beauty of our country. Because for all of the difficulties the United States has, it's a beautiful country. It really, truly is. I've driven through quite a bit of it, and it's truly beautiful. But like I said, to imagine the beauty of the country just being destroyed, it made me a little sick. I had to sit back and remember to breathe. And Prescott really brought the world of 2092 to frightening life in this book. And as hard as it was to read it and imagine it and see it in my mind's eye, as difficult as that was, it was so necessary because it really brings home the message that Prescott's trying to get across. So, you know, from the very first page of 2 Degrees, right up until the very last page, right until the end, I was on the edge of my seat. I mean, it was a ride the whole time from start to end. There were no points where you sat back and go, oh, okay, I could take a little breather. In fact, I read it in one setting. I could not put it down. I couldn't, for me, for me, I couldn't find that natural place where I go, oh, I can take a break now. No, I couldn't take a break. I had to keep reading. And because I had the physical book, well, whether I had the physical book or the ebook didn't really matter. Well, it kind of does matter because I read ebooks on my computer. But I mean, we're talking like if I had to go to the bathroom, I took the book with me and brought it back. If I need to go get something to drink, I took the book with me and kept reading. I kept reading while I was making dinner. So I mean, I literally could not stop. So I was edging my seat. I couldn't stop reading it. Whenever Sharon and the Quanic were, fighting for their lives, my heart was just, beating this rapid tattoo. I cried when Sharon's, that armor developed a little chinks in it that exposed her humanity to the world. Um, and when friends um, fell prey to evil, it brought out those emotions. Um, and Prescott tapped into those emotions so wonderfully while taking me on this harrowing yet remarkable ride. So I say, hurry, get a copy of 2 Degrees and let yourself just kind of fall into this fantastic writing and storytelling because it'll be so worth it. And if you've already read the book, by gum, go read it again. And like I said, my goal is to get 15 people this year to read this book. So if you do get it and you do read it, let me know in the comments. If you have read it before and you want to add something, let me know in the comments. Is there something that stood out to you that you like, oh, you didn't mention this, Carlene? But don't give out spoilers. No spoilers allowed. Rule on fearless views. And as always, be kind to each other in your comments. It is perfectly okay for us to have different points of view. I am one person, and this is my review. What the hell do I know? But this is also my channel, so I get to say what I think. But I invite you to share what you thought of the book if you have read it already. And if you haven't, I invite you to click the link in the description and go get that book. And read it, love it, and then let me know. Show me in the comments. So please like this video. Please comment. Please subscribe. And if you feel like it, please share. And also, please come check out my Patreon. Thank you so much, everyone. I hope you have a fantastic day.